Good morning, everybody.
Good
And
morning.
good morning. And for those of you who are in the United States, happy Memorial Day. Um, it's a beautiful weekend where I am, and I hope that you're all enjoying where you are this morning. Um, so happy to have our Steve back with us. And for those of you who don't know Steve, he's a long time focuser, 23 years, Steve?
Yeah,
and
plus
plus,
plus a
and
few months. Yeah. Yeah.
focusing oriented therapist. And I love how Steve takes very serious, weighty issues and plays with them in a way that enlivens them, enlightens them, and he sort of does magic with language, getting all of the issues to sort of unfold themselves in kind of whimsical ways. And so we're going to unfold some of the main things in psychotherapy using the letter B today. So I hope I hope you're all in the mood for B today. We're going to be together, right, Steve?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. What else about Steve? Um, he has a wonderful sort of integrative approach to psychotherapy, centered in focusing, with a special interest in how our values carry us forward and how the therapist can use the enlivened values that kind of pull us into the future as our uh, as our problems push us, you know. Um, and Steve has an interest in looking at what contemporary Jewish value systems can do for us, and did a lot of dialogue with Jean about Jewishness and the philosophy and how it manifests in those ancient traditions. So, did I leave anything out, Steve?
Yeah. And I would just say the part about Gene is that there was some of that in terms of the philosophy, but also we use the listening partnership and in order to be able to find kind of personal personal meaning and carrying forward in concepts or within the liturgy. And that would be more of it was more experiential in that kind of way. So just
Yes,
wanted to
yes,
be able
yes,
to say it in that fashion. But
absolutely. That's very
yeah,
important.
yeah,
That it was much more of a partnership than it was a dialogue.
yes, yeah, yeah. But otherwise, that sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah, and I wish I'd said it like that too, with the way you said it about the function and the power of re, of values, or values that are resonant to carry something and pull us forward in some way or another, or inspire. So that is that's very important to me. And
Mhm.
maybe could begin from there, I
Yeah,
think. Yeah.
absolutely.
So and I would say that might be behind this this particular presentation and this uh, construction that I'll share with you in a little bit. That the In a sense, I could say beyond, sort of beyond psychotherapy. And so that, and my interest in becoming beyond, and and the power and the value of values and commitment to carry us forward beyond our healing. So that's maybe that would be sort of some of the backdrop. What I realized as I was putting this together, and the title is about the transformative helping power of the bees, is that I think that with implicitly for myself, and without ever saying it to anyone or even saying it to myself, that I think that what I'm going to share with you, and that what I'm hoping I will be elaborated by your responses to it. It has been a growing edge of mine to put together in some kind of a way, kind of what therapy, whether that's therapy with a therapist or self-therapy with a focusing partner, or doing focusing by oneself, what the movement is can be over time in therapy. And so I would say in some way or another that is my growing edge, to kind of put something together. And it's interesting because as I was thinking about this desire to put something together, I realized that I've been thinking back about my late father, who was also a clinical social worker, and he used to say, "I have so many things I want to put together," and he had never quite he had never quite done that, that kind of thing. And so perhaps that putting something together in some kind of framework is I might be carrying something forward, or at least that aspiration of his. I share it in some kind of way, so I would say that is, at least at this particular point in time, in my growing edge, and also a desire hopefully within the next couple of years, to be teaching focusing again in some kind of way. It's been about 12 years since I've done it in any formal kind of over time kind of way. And so then, in order to be able to do that, I think having some sort of way of making sense of it all. And for me, I like making sense of things simply in some kind of way, and then having them broaden out in some fashion after condensing things. So that's my growing edge, and I want to be able to share what has come, these bees. But before I share that, what I'd like for you folks to do is to just take a moment and in your own kind of way, go inside and ask yourself, what's my growing edge at this point in terms of helping, whether that's helping myself or helping someone else or being helped. What's my growing edge? And it may come in clear words or maybe a single word or the image. Memory. Song lyric, whatever form it might take, or gesture. And it may not even be a growing edge at this point in time. Maybe you've grown into something and you're standing in that at this point. And just when you find something that it resonates or is close to resonating, maybe if you jot it down. And you can keep that private and precious at this point. And we'll have some time either together, both together or in breakout rooms at some point to be able to share that and see how what I'm going to share with you may interact with where you happen to be at in your journey at this point. Excuse me. So, okay. So what I'd like to do is share with you how this came about. I'm a morning swimmer, and I use and sometimes I just maybe the majority of the time I'm just into the rhythm of the motion of the swimming strokes, but often as well, there will be something that I'm trying to make some sense of. And as Lynn had mentioned in her introduction, in some kind of playful and concise and pithy kind of way of pulling different things together. And of course, for me, my most important topic, if you will, is about both personally and in my work, being and becoming. So you'll notice that that I use these two words, being and becoming, and so then and they start with the letter B. So I took that particular letter B and started to work with it. And there were a couple of things that started to come in a couple of times of swimming that I also had put down into a mind map, and I'll share it in a more in a less mind mappy form in a few minutes. And so it was this business of trying to put together how we can move and move from being to becoming, and what can help with that particular process, and also looking at different. There's another B, bullet points underneath, or branches underneath being, and also branches underneath becoming, and blossoming, or but I'm jumping ahead. So I came up with these kind of a map, if you will, or a framework of territories to move through, although there can be some overlapping, but there's often a particular theme for each territory, or a central theme for each territory, using the letters B. And so, Christine, if you would be so good as to put the map, if you will, onto the screen, that would be great. Thank you. All right. Can people see that? So I will move through it with you. As I say at the very beginning, I'm looking for a way, and I'm using the letter B, to look at how we can help, how helping others, excuse me, and being helped ourselves can move from the experience that we often have of being against particular feelings and feeling states, or being on the run from them, or being ashamed of them, or being shut down, and moving to something, or becoming someone better, or having a life, I would add a better life process. If you remember the old website for the Focusing Institute, there was one of the categories was a better world, and so that word "better" has been part of the focusing, was part of the focusing kind of aim in some kind of way, or recognition of that what I would call a bettering process is part of focusing. So then what I've done is I've broken it into three movements, or three, and so I call it a map, in the sense that if I'm in Canada, so if I want to, I live in the center of the continent in Manitoba. If I want to take a trip, you can apply it to wherever you are. If I want to take a trip to Vancouver, British Columbia, I'm going to have to travel. I'm going to have to travel through Saskatchewan, or leave Manitoba and travel through Saskatchewan and Alberta until I get into British Columbia. And then even within each of those particular territories, there are going to be challenges and different highways in each of those parts of the journey to this place that I want to go. And I think about, in a sense, the therapy process as having, in some kind of way, there's an unfolding that happens in self-therapy and in therapy with the therapist, and with our focusing partnerships. There is an unfolding that unfolding is going somewhere in some way or another. At least I tend to think of it that way. And I often I often relate to page 19 or 20 of focusing oriented psychotherapy, where what Gene talked about when development happens, and he listed a bunch. So I think in terms of the therapy process and change and healing and growth and change in the direction of what might be referred to as development, and there are different developmental models. So here's the first set of category of, I called it being welcoming, and this can apply to what we give to ourselves, we can give to our clients, and we can give to our partners and other people in less formal situations. Being welcoming, being safe enough, I'll add being caring enough, being solid enough to help ourselves and others to be able to be aware of and to be with or befriend what's real inside of us and what's real inside of them. And what I wrote down there is the befriending the upper hello. As most of you know, Gene would say to, Gene was well known as saying hello, hello. And I've translated that in some kind of way as the upper hello is what we notice first, and what's going on at the above level, if you will. And the second hello is the deeper one in the sort of the implicit level. And those of you who are familiar with biospirituality, there was a presentation that was given, and you could find a YouTube of it, is where Father Pete Campbell had a diagram of an iceberg and looked at us and spoke about our awareness as being like the upper part of the iceberg, and below are deeper levels of experience, and then connecting to the deeper implicit level of our humanity. Anyway, so these are the kinds of things that I talked about us befriending. If we can be welcoming and have enough safety to do it, we can befriend our inner experience of emotion or body sensation or thought or memory of experiences of feeling belittled, beaten, brokenhearted. You notice the letter B? Battered. They're battered, bruised, burdened, blocked, befuddled, bugged, blamed, bored, blame-filled, blue, bereft, blah. And those aren't the only inner experiences we have. We can also have inner experiences that we call positive, which might be feeling blessed or blissed or buoyant. Those are the B's that I could come up with so far in terms of our landscape of inner experience. And so it's that kind of a befriending process. And there are varying teachers who talk about how we do that. The Ann Weiser Cornell's would be self in presence helps befriending, and the biospiritual people talk about caring, feeling presence, and others have talked about self-empathy. And so there's all of these different kinds of ways of helping us to turn towards those difficult feelings, and that also that Gene had spoken about in that famous quote about every difficult emotion, if given the right space, can move towards life forward. And I don't have the quote exactly. So then that's kind of, it's that friendly. And I'll also add that's the ABC process that Helene Brunner spoke of as well, some in her book. So then there's something that what I call the beneathing process. I also like using ing afterwards to be able to turn words into in some kind of way process action. So going beneathing to and through the deeper crux to the felt meaning and the felt sense of what matters most to us and to our clients, to the perhaps the blocked and wanting and longing and needing and not wanting, or deeper knowing, or a calling or an aspiration or duty that's experienced that's experienced beneath the bees. That's the insight part of the and unraveling part of the work. And then there's what I refer to as beyonding, and sort of moving into action through what our clients or ourselves have found as our life forward direction. And that's where our valued life forward direction. And some of the bees that I've written are part of that, are becoming, a sense of becoming, building, bettering, blessing, and bringing forth something something into the world, or some of our gifts into the world. And I'll add another one there that came from a conversation that a welcome conversation I had with Dorothy in preparing for this. There's a battle. Sometimes there's a battling even as we a process that often comes at the becoming and carrying forward our beyonding, our becoming, our building, and our commitments. Oh, I threw in a C. Okay, so that's what I've laid out, and what I'd like is to, and we can take it off the screen and people can kind of share what what comes for you as you see that. And it could be seeing something that you might frame in a different way, or something where some of these bees might be useful. In the English language, there are 25 other letters that could be worked with. Anything that you would add, that you would subtract, or anything that might bug you about the framework. So we can take some time to do that. I would love to hear from you, and I know others would as well. Yeah.
So another B, the blocking.
Okay.
So with every effort of my becoming, there is a blocking that is a challenge.
With it, yeah. That relates. I'll be quiet. Go ahead, Liz.
The word I would add is beholding.
Ooh. Could you say a little bit more about behold, what you mean by that in this context?
To be present to what comes and value it.
Uh-huh.
Like
Yes.
the aha that you just, that moment of honoring what's present.
Yes.
That came from me strongly.
Beholding. Uh-huh.
I like that beholding.
There's the holding bit as well as the being.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And yeah. And anyone else?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bewildered.
bewildered in
Oh.
some of those, that line of difficult feelings, bewildered. Yeah. Thank you. Around the beholding, I did a presentation on othering, I guess about a year or so ago, and the phrase came to me about we can use ouch holders in some kind of way, like people who can hold our ouches, as well as, and us being able to behold those difficult feelings, as well as the more inspiring feelings as well, beholding. Yeah. And I just want to also say, Bob, that that what you were talking about the blocking with each action, which each step in the becoming is, it fits with what Dorothy had said about battling. Doesn't always move so smoothly.
With every action, there's a reaction.
Yeah.
I think the beholding carries the focusing attitude of open curiosity.
Mhm. Yeah.
I don't think we mentioned belonging yet. Such
Yeah.
an important part of the process, and something that we inherently are, but also something that we commit to.
Mhm. And with that, I would add something like being part of in some way or another. And that can be that moving of that inherent and commitment, being part of something larger.
Mm.
Anyone else?
I'll add a word called being. Being. Be.
Like, as in just be
Be.
slash ing.
Yes.
Thank you.
Because be is a living entity that pull out the essence of the flowers and make it into a fruit.
Mm.
Oh, I love that.
Being.
Yeah, BEE.
Yes.
Oh, I love that. Yes. Huh. Thank you.
With being, there's honey.
Yes.
Mm.
And sometimes if not often, maybe even always, but certainly often, the moving, the moving towards and the working through in a BEE, hyphen ing way, or the focusing attitude kind of way, does bring forth through the, from the awful, a hidden gift of honey in some kind of way. It's two different letters, but I think about shit turning into compost some way. Anyone else before we leave this and guide you further? Any other letters that people want to bring forward? Liz.
Hello.
Hi, Liz.
Now that reminded me when I first started psychoanalysis 1,000 years ago. I had a horrible nightmare that I told the analyst, and I woke up screaming, "There's a bee in my eye. There's a bee in my eye." And there was a bee in my eye. And we talked about that, and he had that same kind of, maybe it was that you're being told to be, that's just exactly what we were saying before.
And it can feel very scary at first, both in dreamland and also in wakeland when we're moving towards. Yeah, thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, Steve. I might add the word breathing, because for the second part, beneath, I imagine if, let's say, beneath the surface, if I'm going to go down to the deeper crust, I want to take a deep breath to go within, to go down. So breathing is something that I might consider. And then for the last part, for beyonding, I might consider the word boundary, pushing boundary towards personal growth, professional growth.
Yeah. Because yes, so there's that, and that boundary can grow out of, excuse me, can grow out of our coming into contact with our own authentic no, not that, this.
Yeah, it is also in a sense where that beyonding is kind of like also expanding the boundary as we move forward.
Okay. Yeah.
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to the recording where I can then start writing these things down. Okay, any last person before? Okay. So what I'd like to do is to do an attunement. And then what we'll do is we'll move into breakout rooms. I'm looking at time. So we'd probably go into breakout rooms in about 5 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes, around 8 o'clock. And then come back about 8:25. And I'm thinking, does it make sense that the breakout rooms be with three people? I have such a small screen. I haven't seen how many people are here. Oops. Here we go. So maybe groups of 3. Does that make sense, Lynn?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna guide you and help you guide yourselves. And so just take some moments. I know I'm with a lot of focusers, so you have your particular ways of getting yourself ready to go inside, or as Jean would say, go downstairs. And so just take a moment. And just kind of notice whether that's with your eyes open or with your eyes closed. sensing the space around you. You might notice the point of contact of your feet. On the floor or on the ground if you happen to be outside. Point of contact. Your back against the chair. Sit bones on the seat of the chair. And without taking any deliberate action, just noticing the movement of breath going in and bringing your attention inside. To the middle of your body. That throat, chest, stomach and abdomen area. Where we experience feelings with meaning. Often. And then when you're ready, drop the question down inside. How might this conversation, that we just had, this map or model, help me with clarifying my growing edge. That I noticed and named and wrote down earlier. And once again, just kind of notice there may come a vague kind of sense. Or something definitive. And just kind of mark that. It may have come in an image, it may have come in some words, a symbol, gesture, a melody. Memory. However that emerges for you. And you might want to jot that down. To have with you. To further share or explore. In the breakout room. And those of you who need to leave, I guess it would be about the time. And also when you're ready, enough to slowly open your eyes.
Are we ready to go into our breakout rooms? And we will see you back, Steve, at 9:25 or 9:30.
How about we make it for 9:30 Eastern time.
Okay.
Yeah. That's that, yeah.
It's so funny, we did the 9 and the 8.
Yeah, and if you're Katerina, it's
Yeah.
even earlier.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we will
Okay.
see you back at 9:30 or 8:30, as the case may be.
Or something else too. Okay.
Oh, yes, a lot of something
Yeah, from
else.
other places too, yeah.
Right.
Anyway, see you soonish.
Soon.
Bye.
Robert, this again.
Welcome
Just
back.
before-
everybody. Yeah.
And I was just going to say that just before I was in a breakout room with someone. Just before we were going to introduce ourselves, I touched something and disappeared into another breakout room. I didn't know what those numbers meant. Now I do. Anyway, it would have been nice to meet you. Anyway,
You abandoned your breakout room partner.
I did. Yeah.
And we don't know who it is, and they're not here.
I do.
It's me, actually.
Yeah. Hello. Hi, Roxanne.
Jack
Yeah.
would abandon.
Hi, Steve. Thanks for clarifying.
Yeah,
I was wondering, like, what happened?
Me.
you
I
were
happened.
swept into another universe.
So speaking of those universes that we broke out into, I'm sorry. Just we have some time, about 10 minutes to share about what any gems that came for people in their experience in their breakout room, kind of either carrying the attunement or growing edge a little bit further, whatever came up that you wanted to share. And we'll all get a chance to listen in.
Well, I'll start.
Thank you.
You said something just a moment ago, Steve, about you pressed the wrong button and you vanished. By the way, I did the same thing, but at the end. So my theme is bandits of my engaging.
Bandits of my engaging.
Yes.
Mhm.
But what I mean by that is I intend to engage, but things happen in my head and outside my head that steal away my engagement.
Mm.
So I call them bandits because of
Mm.
in my head right now. And so there are a number of bandits, the news, my own propensities for introvertism, any number of bandits, I'm going to call them bandits, we can call them anything we want, that take away my engaging in the present with others and even within myself.
Mm, I like that.
Me too.
If I just find my, not find myself, I'm grateful just for this sentence of what is my growing edge.
Mm,
I think that's a great sentence that can be used in each and every situation that puts me, that brings me downstairs.
mm,
You know, and you've done a good paths of giving all these words that I can apply to my things that I find downstairs to go to the growing edge, you know. I think it's really, I have to review this again. I wish I had put that thing, I could take a picture of that, what you had presented. I wrote it down, but just to remain aware of what is my growing edge is a great guidepost or something like that, I think. Thank you for that. Yeah.
yes. You know, Christine could put it in the chat, the map.
That would be good. And,
I will.
Liz?
Me?
Yes, Liz. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, I was with Shuling. It was very, very interesting because we both had the bees. We had both had the bees. So, and then Shuling talked about the bees and the welcoming the flowers. And I
Mm,
told her that I resonated with that because right now I'm in a space where I don't have a window and yet I have a little backyard. And yesterday I welcomed the flowers because I'm working on in the garden. So I said that that was really great because then I got from my current reality, which is in front of a concrete wall with no window, to an imaginative place where I was imagining being in the garden. And then Shuling questioned this was fine. Questioned how was I defining reality versus fantasy? And that she was saying that even the way that I was defining reality was constricted and post-industrial. And that actually, if I went pre-industrial, I would have a more expansive view of reality itself. So that got me to question what is reality and what is fantasy, and how I might have a carrying forward of going backwards to a more pre-industrial way of conceptualizing reality, for which I might need psychedelic drugs, but possibly not.
And I just want to say how much I value that statement about going backwards, and going backwards in time and eras from which to go forwards or carry. Yeah.
Yes, what Siren, you were speaking before me.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe I can say something about what is saying. Okay, we do have a very interesting conversation, dialogues in our breakout rooms, and we start with the carry forward, what is being brought forward. And then so both of us share, and then Liz, and as we are sharing, we are putting things more concrete. It's like we are manifested it in the outside from the inside. It's like the being is like the something, a process within, from the welcoming to the beneath, going down, the bee going down, and then from there making something into honey. There's a another process of going beyonding. So I'm thinking about that. That makes something that is carried forward from me. And then as Liz is saying that example, she said, yeah, she's thinking about the flowers, you know, the full spring of New York, which is short, but it's so precious at this moment of time. So the things from the within is now manifested outside. Then from there, we go to the reality and fantasy. And then I questioned that we were saying that because she's saying that because we are actually having a perception of what is reality at first. The reality and the fantasy may not be the reality that we are seeing. And then we go about the time frame of where is the reality, and are we evolved, becoming more evolved, or are we actually being constrained from the evolvement? That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, a very deep philosophical question and conversation, starting with moments in the here and now, or where we are here and now. So much there. Thank you.
Thank you for the space and time.
Hi, Celine. I'm wondering, does your image kind of resonate with my sense of wanting my, did you say cutting edge, leading edge, of wanting to stay downstairs? And I'm wondering, is that beyond time and space? That's how I probably conceptualize it. And, you know, they room me out beyond right and wrong. It's that field that I want to live from there. So thank you for the possible resonance that we're, saying. How could we say the same thing? But, you know, it reminded me of that, or resonated with my wish of that. But thank you. And thank you, Steve, for a lovely presentation.
Thank you. So maybe I guess we're getting close to time, and yeah, maybe we'll have to stop here. People may have things to do and all of that. And Dorothy has a poem that she has volunteered to read to us. I've really appreciated our time together, and all of the reflections. And as I said before, I'm looking forward to the recording, so to take more of it in. And yeah, there's lots here. There's lots here.
Thank you so much, Steve. And I'm looking forward to listening to the recording also and jotting down all the things that came to me. So thank you all for coming, of course. And we'll have Dorothy's poem.
Can I say something? It seems like Mr.
Sure.
Rogers Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. It feels like I'm in Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. That's what it
Yes.
feels like.
I like that.
I'm in Mr. Rogers. I'm so glad.
If
we
you
had-
haven't already seen the Tom Hanks movie, I recommend it. He did a great job with that. So before we leave the neighborhood, go to our own, because it might be a wonderful day. Is Dorothy, you ready?
You're muted.
Thank you, Steve, for using, one of my favorite poets. This is John Donahue, For a New Beginning. And it's from To Bless the Space Between Us. I'll put it in the chat.
Those are all these.
Yeah.
Beginning, bless, and yes.
In out of the way places of the heart, where your thoughts never think to wander, this beginning has been quietly forming, waiting until you were ready to emerge. For a long time, it has watched your desire, feeling the emptiness growing inside you, noticing how you willed yourself on, still unable to leave what you had outgrown. It watched you play with the seduction of safety and the gray promises that sameness whispered, heard the waves of turmoil rise and relent, wondered, would you always live like this? Then the delight when your courage kindled, and out you stepped onto new ground, your eyes young again, with energy and dream, a path of plenitude opening before you. Though your destination is not yet clear, you can trust the promise of this opening. Unfurl yourself into the grace of beginning that at one with your life desire. Awaken your spirit to adventure. Hold nothing back. Learn to find ease in risk. Soon you will be home in a new rhythm, for your soul senses the world that awaits you.
Thank you. It's a
Thank you,
wonderful
Dorothy.
poem.
Yeah.
See you all next week.
Thank you,
Thank
Steve.
you again, Steve.
Oh,
And
Thank you.
planning people will meet at 10,
Oh, okay.
just for a short time.
As I said, bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Steve. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
I thought that was great, Steve. I
Oh,
really enjoyed it.
Thanks for the encouragement to do it. Thank you. Nice
Thank
to
you.
see everybody. Have a good day.
You too.
You
Yes,
too.
you too.
Bye.
I was just writing the poem in the chat.
Oh,
So I'm
good.
Great, thank you. Yeah,
for a
great
new
reading of it. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks so much, Steve.
Bye-bye.